What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the RGR Football Channel. My name is Daniel Harms. For those of you new, welcome. Please make sure to hit that like, the bell, and the sub. Just getting you everything in the RGR Football Channel. It's awesome. I know that it's not a week you want to deal with having tons of Chiefs talk, especially after they go 1-2. But this is the kind of week that you can really get into getting more comfortable. Yeah, they signed Josh Gordon. All of that's going to be cool to talk about, but what we really want to focus on are the things that they fixed in week two, from week 2 to week 3, and the things that they can fix from week 3 to week 4. So we're going to have a new segment called Bring in the Mechanics. For those of you that don't know, I was actually a jet engine mechanic in the Air Force for 4 years before I was medically retired due to my Crohn's disease. So this is going to have a special place for me because I did love to do that. I did love working on jet engines. It was a lot of fun. And as much as I'm not very qualified to say what can fix the Kansas City Chiefs defense and offensive from their perspectives, I can tell you that from week 2 to week 3, there were some things that they definitely focused on more. One of the big things that we saw against the Ravens were the missed tackles. There were so many missed tackles. I couldn't even begin to wrap my mind around how slippery everyone felt from that Baltimore Ravens team. And they didn't feel that slippery in this game, whether that has to do with Lamar Jackson just being, that kind of guy, which he definitely is, coming into playing the Los Angeles Chargers. They put an added emphasis on tackling. Only 2 missed tackles last week, none of them from the one and only Dan Sorensen, who's been one of the biggest culprits of it throughout the first 2 weeks of the season. And I think going forward, that's something that becomes very important. Ryan and I have talked about how they don't get a lot of these practice reps anymore in terms of being physical in practice and getting all of these tackling aspects down. So when it comes to real game situations, sometimes it's hard to apply, tackling in space against a guy like Lamar Jackson or some of the more slippery guys they have in Baltimore, especially even in Cleveland for that matter. So some things take time to work out. I think the added emphasis on tackling last week is hopefully going to project through the rest of the year. Tackling has been an issue for the last few seasons in Kansas City, so I'm hoping to see, them actually work the rest of those kinks out and everyone stays on the same page with, wrapping up, getting your shoulder into where the ball is, keeping that head up, you're not lowering the crown and trying to hit people, just nice, sound tackling. That's really what you want. Also, I think that the run defense was better. Obviously, you're talking about Cleveland, Baltimore, and then the Chargers. So it's not exactly a apples to apples comparison, but when you see an offensive line that isn't going to bring a ton of different looks at you, and they're not going to pull guards from the left and go back to the right, they're not going to do all these different things that the Baltimore Ravens do, you can see how a lot of times linebackers were able to get downhill. They were able to see things opening in front of them, and they didn't have to worry about Lamar Jackson running the opposite way with the ball. They could get downhill and they could, scrape along those offensive tackles, those defensive tackles, offensive linemen, and just get down into the nitty gritty and stop Austin Eckler from doing a whole lot of damage on the ground. Through the air, that's a whole different story. We're going to get that to the other segment of Bring in the Mechanics. But nice to see the run defense be a little bit more, up to the task. I think that's definitely something you want to see going forward. I'm hoping that they get healthy up front, they get healthy in the back end. You can't fix injuries. That's something that just always happens in these NFL seasons. You got to find ways to manufacture plays and players without some of your key guys. We talked yesterday on the live stream about how I don't have any faith that Frank Clark's going to come in and be this difference maker anymore. Essentially, I think that he's just a body in terms of what he's going to bring. But I do still believe that he, as a run defender, can still bring something. I don't think he has anything in the pass rush department anymore, but that's really on him to show me wrong. So being a more sound run defender, I think that you saw that against Baltimore too, that, he's not going to do a whole lot, but he was able to get a negative play here and there in the run game. That's why they kind of run away from him. He sees that a little bit better than Mike Dana and Alex Okafor and players like that. Obviously, Chris Jones is still learning defensive end, and that's going to evolve going forward. But they did fix what they needed to do. They attacked the run game much better this week. So I liked to see that. Now, from the offensive perspective, the run game was very nice to see. I know a lot of people don't like going from making sure that Clyde's got his confidence in him, blah, 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 all this stuff. He had 13 carries for 46 yards in week 1. He had 14 carries for 43 yards in week 2. And then in week 3, they give him only 3 more carries. Okay, they give him 3 more carries, and he gets 100 yards. So we can talk all about taking it away from Patrick Mahomes, but if they can run the ball more effectively and get after it in the run game with this offensive line, which I thought found much more competence and much more movement ability up front, this is going to be a very good sign for the Chiefs offense going forward. You can't fix in one singular game the unluckiness that those turnovers were, but I think you can kind of see the impact that the run game did have. There was a lot of intermediate areas of the field open. Now, you're also going to see Tyreek Hill being doubled a lot in these games. That's got something to do with the Josh Gordon signing. And when you have all of that and you still have teams trying to double and be more physical with Travis Kelce, you have an ability to run the ball more. So I'm going to address one little thing with the run game that a lot of people seem to overlook. With the passing offense the way it is, defenses are going to play more off coverage. Okay, you don't have to. The one thing you're worried about is Patrick Mahomes beating you over the top. So you're not going to be up at the line of scrimmage. You're not going to have a bunch of guys in the box. And you're not going to have these opportunities to take runs to the house like we've seen in the past. Yeah, some of the more fast guys in the league maybe be able to get some of that. But the way the defenders are playing the Chiefs, it makes it almost impossible to break those long 50-plus yard touchdown runs. And you may not agree with that, and that's fine. But the simple fact of the matter is that what you saw on Sunday with the run game and Clyde is a very good way to move forward with a run game. 17 carries, 100 yards on the ground, maybe a little bit more. If they start to work him in the pass game, that's going to help everybody get better. It's going to take some pressure off of Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce to have to beat those doubles all the time. That they have to find a better way. That's going to transition perfectly into how we fix the offense a little bit going forward. And when I say fix, I mean they're averaging 30 plus points a game. So it's not so much a fixing of the offense, it's adapting what's going on with the defense to see how you can fix things to make it easier for Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. 2 guys yesterday, or on Sunday, dropped what NFL players should catch, okay? Marcus Kemp drops a pass over the middle of the field. I think he was thinking about scoring a touchdown because he was wide open. Can't have that happen. Byron Pringle's catch was a much tougher catch. It was over the shoulder, harder to track, but over the shoulder hits you in the hands, you still have to catch it. Sometimes, Mahomes does a very good job of spreading the ball around. A bunch of people caught passes yesterday, or on I keep saying yesterday, on Sunday. I think all of the tight ends caught a pass. So that's telling you he's trying to do everything he can, step up into the pocket, to read the field, to get it to some of his not first reads, because defenses are keying on that. And that's exactly what you want him to do. But you have to utilize one of your better route runners in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You drafted him because of his ability, in my opinion, to be a weapon in the passing game. And as much as I'm comfortable and I like seeing him as a weapon on the ground, which I think on Sunday against the Chargers, you saw that he actually can be. And yeah, maybe he's not going to rip off those 50-plus yard touchdown runs, but he could if that were the case in terms of seeing more guys in the boxes and having an offensive line move them and wall off some of these guys. But that's not the point, okay? What I'm saying is use him in the passing game. Find ways, to get him the ball too. I think the screens are a good start. You can start to use a lot of different ways to fool defenses, as we saw 2 weeks ago, them try to use Clyde as a default and use Michael Burton as a way to come off of that with a different screen the opposite direction. So I think they have to get more creative with Clyde in the passing game, line him up all over the field. They should be using more 2 running backs with multiple in terms of Clyde, McKinnon. I think those 2 on the field at the same time offer you a ton of different abilities to attack different areas of the field. So I can't wait to see, hopefully, them start to do that a little bit more. Obviously, you fix up the mistakes, turnovers. Take care of the ball. I think that's going to be optimal this week. Mahomes is going to have a much more emphasis on it himself. People are going to be less apt to fumble. You're going to see guys carry the ball with 2 hands more often. This little tiny cleaning up stuff is what's going to be important going forward to fix the offense. So That's really the only thing we're going to need to talk about in the offense, because I think they've been doing a really good job of manufacturing yards, manufacturing points, and getting the ball down the field when teams are taking that top away and making it so you have to drive the length of the field. I think it makes them a better offense. I think it makes them more complete. To the defensive side, this is where a lot of stuff needs to be fixed. The biggest thing that we saw the Chargers take full advantage of is the late setting of the defense and waiting until everyone comes out of the huddle, lines up to set everything. I know it's a strategy to try to save everything that you're giving the quarterback to the last second. But if teams are just going to start quick snapping you, which they will, and start coming out from the huddle and running to the ball and snapping it because they know what's going on, you're going to be caught in many more situations where guys are running open over the middle of the field. Linebackers can't get depth because they're too busy trying to figure out what's going on, and you can't get hands in the passing lanes, you can't get bodies in the passing lanes, and you have wide open guys down the field for chunk gains off of everything, off of play action, off of just regular snaps, off of gun, everything. It's going to be everywhere. It's a big issue, and I truly believe that Spags has to adjust this a little bit. As much as we talk about some of the players not being able to do what they can do to be their best, and they're being put in positions where they can't succeed, like Dan Sorensen, who's just not able to do what he can do, what he used to be able to do. He can't do it anymore. Spags has to adjust the way he's calling games. And at the end of the game, I think you saw exactly more of the issues that he creates sometimes in one-on-one situations. He wants to be pressured, wants to put pressure on the quarterback. He feels like he has to, at times, put pressure on the quarterback. And that leaves Mike Hughes and DeAndre Baker, who I think had up and down on Sunday. He had some plays, he had some bad plays. Put them in one-on-one situations with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. That's not a position you want to be in. And Justin Herbert knew what he was doing. He saw those one-on-ones, and he didn't think twice about it. He made those decisions. He exploited them for touchdowns multiple times. So you have to adjust the way you're attacking, setting up, just looking at an offense. You have to have a plan of attack, of changing what you're seeing, of what the offense is doing in terms of getting your guys out in a position to get set up quicker while also disguising what you're doing. So that's not easy to do. I know it's not. I don't call defenses. I just think that they have to adjust. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more prepared to go quicker because teams are going to continue to up-tempo them until they change. Also on the defensive side, I know that there's a lot of Juan Thornhill talk, and to fix the defense, I do think he needs to play more. But I think that they're just stuck playing Dan Sorensen. So they have to find a way to get three safeties on the field more often. That's what Spags wants to do. But when teams are forcing you to play more in your base, they're forcing your hand to play more behind, or more, when your team's behind, so you have to defend against the run more. That's going to lend itself to less three safeties on the field. And for whatever reason, they don't believe that Juan Thornhill and Tyrann Mathieu are the best 1-2 combination at safety for whatever reason. But I'm here to tell you that when you have two safeties on the field whose strengths are both in the box, closer to the line of scrimmage, and not deep down the field, that's putting you in a disadvantage every time that Juan Thornhill's not on the field. His skill set is built to play more single high. It's built to play more cover three, but they don't want to play cover three. So something's going on here behind the scenes that we don't know about, or it's a coaching staff's stubbornness to make their defense better. Dan Sorensen being on the field more makes their defense worse. There's just cut and dry, period. That's just how it is. Ideally, you want all three of them on the field, because then you can have two safeties with Juan, with Mathieu being more in the middle, and have Dan Sorensen as the guy who can come in, maybe drop out for a coverage, get his hand in the throwing lane, get his body in the throwing lane, and be a blitzer. That's what he's best at right now. His only redeeming quality right now is being a blitzing safety. That's it. So they need to find a way to get Thornhill on the field. If he's got issues with the playbook that we don't know about, at this point, entering his third year, that's an issue on him, but I don't believe that it is. I think it's more stubbornness on the coaching staff to think that they're right. So we're going to see how it plays out going forward. But these guys are all going to have to come together. It's coming into week 4. They got time. So I'm interested to see how the defense is going to start going forward. Who's going to start stepping up? So for me, what I want you guys to say in the comments, who is one defensive player in week 4 that hasn't made himself known this year that you think is going to make a big game and have that coming out moment against the Philadelphia Eagles? So yeah, please just do that for me. We're going to have a nice conversation. We're going to have more videos this week. Obviously, I'll be having another film review for you guys tomorrow. Ryan and Seth will be on Thursday, and then we'll have the game plan for you on Friday. Please make sure to like, sub, hit the bell notification, watch these videos. I really hope you guys enjoy these. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping to see the Chiefs team get back on track on Sunday. Until then, you guys have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.